Okay, good evening. This is the Hendrick Hudson School District Board of Education meeting. Today is Wednesday, June 17th. In the district office with me, Superintendent Joseph Hochreiter, is our Assistant Superintendent Enrique Catalan, and Greg Cavalieri, our technology wizard, who's doing the audio, visual, and live streaming for us. And with that, I'll turn it over to our school board president, Dr. Abraham.
Hi, good evening. As Joe just said, today is Wednesday, June 17th, and this is the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. Can I have a motion to start the meeting, please?
So moved.
So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can we start with a roll call, please, for Carmen? Lisa Anderson? Here. Mary Papricki? Here. Corey Notrica?
On video.
Bill Aricchio? Barbara Pedersen? Here. And Lori Ryan? Here. So Bill is not here yet. He hopefully will be joining us shortly. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as stated this evening?
So moved. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, would anybody like to pull anything from the consent agenda this evening?
Yes. Lisa Anderson, I would like to pull from the consent agenda item number 3.2, fiscal.
That's the change order, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I would like to pull item 3.4, which is the classified personnel agenda, please. Portion of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda as stated?
So moved, Lisa.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so item number 3.2, which is the change order. Lisa, you had questions about that?
I just wanted us to discuss it for a minute and kind of get an update on what's happening with the construction work. And I was hoping that we could have an explanation as to what necessitated this change order.
Hello everyone, thank you. This is for the storage room that we're building next to central office. Since the beginning we knew that there was rock in that area and that we were going to have to remove rock. We didn't know how much, so we didn't want to include it in the original bid, but we had contingencies for that, and this is exactly why we did it, because we didn't know how big the rock was going to be and how hard it was. The rock was much bigger than expected, and pipes, utility pipes are going through it, so we needed to blast that piece of rock. We negotiated very hardly with the company, and I think this is a very good price. So that's the change order number 1, and that's the reason we're asking the board to approve this change order.
Thank you, Enrique. One question, you kind of touched on it, is this going to have any kind of detrimental impact on our budget? It sounds like you said that we made a contingency for these kinds of situations.
Yes.
But are we okay with the budget?
We have about $400,000 for contingencies for the warehouse. So far, this is the first change order for $80,000. So we're still, if we don't encounter any other problem, we're still going to be way under budget, including contingencies on everything.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes, and just to have an update for the whole construction project, they have started working in all the buildings. They started all the security portions. The rest of the project, they are working also in the classrooms, in the library, and they are going to start very shortly in the 2 auditoriums. I think next week they are coming to take out all the old chairs, and then they will start full. So far, as of yesterday that we had a construction meeting, everything is still on time and on budget. In case we open next September, we expect to open with new vegetables, new classrooms, science rooms, library in the high school, and 2 new or renovated auditoriums.
That's excellent. Thank you, Enrique.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any questions about this item? No? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve agenda item 3.2, the change order?
So moved, Lisa.
Second, Lori. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so that brings us to agenda item 3.2, which is the classified personnel. The only reason this is pulled is that there are 2 board members that will need to be abstaining from this vote. Do we have 4 other board members at the moment that can vote on it? Yes, we do. Okay, great. All right, so can I get a motion to approve agenda item 3.4, please?
So moved.
Wait, can you read that first?
Sure. It's the classified student helpers, which are Jack Bricky, Eli Aronson, William Abraham, and Alex Jager.
Okay.
So we have
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes?
1 abstention, please.
2 abstentions, myself as well. All right, that brings us to committee report. Oh, no, sorry, superintendent's report.
Just a couple updates before I throw it over to our team. Most timely and perhaps importantly, earlier this afternoon or shortly after 3 o'clock, we announced our unofficial results from our budget vote and Board of Education election. We received 2,274 yes votes for our budget and 1,169 no votes, so almost a 2-to-1 margin. And our transportation or bus proposition passed by a margin of 2,155 yes votes compared to 1,281 no votes. The third proposition that was on there was for the Hendrick Hudson Free Library. That passed with a similar margin. And congratulations to Corey Notrika. Will continue to serve on the Board of Education for a 3-year term, and Alexandra Philbin, who is joining the board for her first time. So they were the highest vote getters. There'll be an opportunity that we'll talk about at the end of the meeting for us to come together one more time to certify the election, and during that time there will be a document that will have all of this information for you to approve. It will also have all of the individuals who received write-in votes. So thank you to our community. Thank you to everyone who played a role in developing this budget. If we rewound 3.5 years ago to the day Indian Point announced their closure, and we were looking at some really tough numbers in terms of tax increases, a lot of unknowns, a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of fear and anxiety. This is a really good first step. It's a sign that the community certainly supports the product and what we're doing inside of our 5 schools, and also a recognition that taxes will need to go up proportionately to the amount of revenue that we're losing from Indian Point. We feel like we've done a really good job trying to control our expenses over the last number of years. We've advocated to great lengths and extents at the federal level, the state level, our local level. We're in conversations with business development and potential owners to create more taxable property. Enrique and I often meet and spend a lot of time with our state senator and assemblywoman. They have been a tremendous help. There's a bill sitting on the governor's desk right now for him hopefully to approve that would bring in significant amount of revenue to the district by being able to tax the spent nuclear fuel that basically is just eating up space at the Indian Point campus. So a lot of things went our way, but they went our way because we worked really, really hard, and this budget pass I believe is a sign that the community was with us. So congratulations to all of us, to the Board of Education. I know you guys played a very vital role in developing our budget and helping educate folks. So a real awkward year, but same results, and we're very excited about that. The only other topic I have is yesterday was our last day of school, but we have been spending better part of the last 6 weeks getting ready for our first day of school. And there are really 3 options. One option is that we come back 100%. That will be a decision the governor makes. Second option is that we stay home and continue our digital learning plan. That also will be a decision the governor makes. Or something in between, a hybrid model. That also will be a decision the governor makes. So we have created 3 teams to address our reentry planning process: curriculum instruction and technology. We have a social emotional wellness team, and we have an operations team. And all 3 of those groups have been meeting regularly. In fact, Lisa, Margaret, and I were part of phase 1 of a webinar today about reentry planning, and we'll finish that webinar tomorrow. Anthony and Enrique and Liz on the operations end have been really busy working with Alteris and other agencies throughout the state. I know Laura's been meeting with her technology colleagues from around the region to make sure that our software and hardware is up and running, as well as the different programs that we use. So there are a lot of unknowns, but right now how we move forward or what options we have made available to us is going to depend on the governor, and it's going to depend on the state education department. We don't expect to receive any guidance until mid-July, but we'll continue to plan for some scenarios internally so we can hit the ground running as soon as that decision is made. For those of you who are parents, you received just a real quick survey about reentry for next year. And in fact, our survey is going to be a model template for other districts in the BOCES to use. Just trying to get a sense of what some of the issues are, what some of the parents' needs are. If we had a hybrid schedule, whether or not older students are needed to provide childcare for younger students. So it's our first dipping our toe in the water to try to figure out what the needs are in our community. Though that's one of many surveys that we'll put out, but we're trying to get as many perspectives as possible without having a whole lot of guidance right now. So it's important that I underscore no decisions have been made, because in fact we are not the decision makers right now. It's the governor and the state education department, and we're still on hold for the better part of a month. So with that, I'll turn it over to our other team members who are joining us virtually. I guess we'll start with Laura. If Laura, you'd like to give an update on instructional technology matters.
Unmute.
Laura, you're mute.
Thank you. As Joe said, as we've been planning for the past 3 months to support the virtual learning environment we've been in. We've also been trying to set our sights forward. And so as we've been wrapping up the school year, some physical aspects was making the decision to have every student that has a touchscreen Chromebook to keep that Chromebook at home for the summer, rather than ask those students to bring them home, bring them back to schools, and then have them pick them up again in September. So, however, some of our students took home non-touch Chromebooks. These are our older Chromebooks that were on their way out, that were planning to be recycled and replaced this coming year. So we asked for those to be returned. So today we had 2 drop-offs between 9 and 11 and 2 and 4 p.m. at Frankie Lindsay. So we were able to collect a good amount of those devices. And then now we're in the process of just inventorying and getting ready so that we can ensure that every student has a touch Chromebook come September. Additionally, we've been just doing a lot of meetings. So I've been meeting with a lot of my colleagues around the region, which has been very helpful. But we do this weekly, sometimes twice a week, to get updates, to learn best practices, see what everybody else is doing, and try to make plans moving forward. I can talk a little bit about some of the meetings we've been having. Margaret could talk as well. You know, I'll focus on with our tech coaches. So doing a lot of meetings the past couple weeks, just reflecting what worked, what didn't work, what do they need, what were teachers trying to accomplish that they couldn't, and could we start to brainstorm and rethink how we can provide support for those needs. Really trying to think outside the box, and also, you know, some of it's high tech and some of it's low tech, but I'll let Margaret get into that a little bit more, because I know she spent a lot of time this week meeting with each grade level and department. On the HR side, though, I'd like to share that, as you can see in tonight's agenda, I was happy that we could finally put forward our tenure appointments. So we're eagerly awaiting some direction from the state for that. So we have 17 teachers that are getting appointed for tenure, and 9 teaching assistants, so a total of 26 people. So they were very excited Friday afternoon when I notified them of this news. And we also have 2 additional retirements that just came in that you can see. And of course, Lisa could speak to this as well, but you can see there's a lot of appointments for special ed support for this summer. We couldn't hold our traditional ES5, but Lisa was able to identify students who needed support and be able to manage and hire people to do that virtually over the summer. So I will turn it over to Margaret.
Hi, everybody. So, as Laura said, I've spent the better part of the last week and a half meeting with every grade level and all of the department leaders, 6-12. It was really great seeing everybody and chatting with everybody, both on a social and emotional level, but also about concerns for planning for next year, kids that people are worried about, how to compact curriculum as we move from maybe missing some topics into the next part of a math course or a history course. So everybody's busy at work right now, sending me plans for how they want to proceed with that. So we'll spend some time looking that over and getting people to work together over the summer so that we're as well prepared as we can be to hit the ground running in the fall, whatever that looks like. I think people are expecting that we will probably have distance learning in some way, shape, or form as we start the school year. They are up to date on some of the guidelines that we know exist regarding busing and kids not moving rooms. So I think they have in their head a plan, at least, for what the possibilities are. And everybody was really in good spirits about how we're going to tackle this together. I was pleased that quite a number of teachers asked about summer learning opportunities so that they can enhance some of the virtual work that they're doing with kids. And of course, it's, you know, you're closing a year and you're opening a new year, and you're opening a year unlike any we've had before. So there's a lot of uncertainty, like my colleagues, and as Joe has mentioned, we're all involved with different webinars in the region, trying again to look at collaboratively planning to get us ready for the fall. And everybody's waiting for the other shoe to drop up in Albany. So we're on pins and needles about what we will learn together. We have now that, thank you to the community, that we have a budget. Lisa, Laura, and I will spend the next week or so putting the final details on some of our moves with teachers and needs regarding class sections across the board. I have a phone call on Friday with middle school to find out some of their needs as we move forward now that we have a budget locked in. So it's an exciting time, but it's also a little bit bittersweet as people leave us that we know won't be coming back, and we're ready to embrace new people in some of our leadership roles. And I really appreciated the fact that everyone showed up for every meeting that we scheduled. Laura joined me for quite a few as well, because it's just nice to see each other. So we'd love for school to go back perfectly normal, business as usual in terms of having all our kids in front of us every day. But I think we're also prepared for the reality that we may be dealt. So I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. I know Margaret and Laura have talked a lot about what we've been doing, but, at PPS we've been still holding all of our virtual things till the end. And, I have to praise the special ed department and our related service department because they have been working tirelessly, working with kids at 5 and 6 o'clock at night to ensure that they're meeting their needs. Because I know you probably know our sleeping patterns of kids have changed dramatically since we've been out of school. We have begun virtual ESY planning. We have teachers in place, related service people in place. Everything will be virtual. No one is comfortable yet doing a live session of ESY. We're obviously planning for that as we return, hopefully in the fall, but right now no one is comfortable meeting face-to-face with kids. Teachers have schedules put forth. Related services people have schedules put forth, and this year something new we're doing is really making sure we keep connecting with kids for the social emotional learning piece of it, because we have had some really ups and downs with some of our children that we always get counseling. So that's something new we're doing this year as well. As Joe stated, we have started planning. Our SEL team has really taken the lead, and I have 10 really driven people on that team that are really ready to figure out how we can not only support students, but to support staff on the return and help them understand what our kids went through, as well as how do we give some resources out to parents, whether we do come back to school or if we stay home, because I think our parents are going to need some support either way, as well as our teachers. I think we've finished strong and we continue to have meetings. I mean, school may be over, but I know I met with people today, and I have meetings first thing tomorrow as well. So I think it's important, that we give accolades to all the teachers that still continue to work and are driven to make sure we do the best thing for kids.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Enrique shared some updates on the capital project. Thankfully, we have no updates on the budget, none of it passed. So I think we'll leave it at that.
All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you again to Joe and Enrique for presenting us a budget that the community could support. It was a really good group effort. And thank you so much to the teachers who worked so hard this year under really, really difficult circumstances to really make the end of the year as excellent as it possibly could be. And are continuing to work. We still have graduation coming up and some other events to honor our students. So, although school has ended, school has not ended. It is continuing on. All right, so our next segment here are the committee reports. I know Lisa had something to share.
I do. The safety committee met since our last Board of Ed meeting, and we went over the district-wide safety plan. It has been reviewed by the committee, and it is currently up on the district website for comments from the public. If anyone is interested in and has a comment they'd like to make with regard to it, they can email those to safetyplan@henhudschools.org. And the board will be taking a look at that and approving that plan before September 1st. The other thing that happened is there were more of the Town Hall, Westchester Putnam School Board Association calls. In those we discussed school elections, summer school plans, year-end plans in the region, and the communications about current events with our communities. And we've also been discussing, from the Board of Ed point of view, what reopening things are happening in our district as well. So again, those discussions have been very valuable for me, and I'm grateful to be able to be part of those. And that's my report.
All right, and thank you again, Lisa, for being our representative at the Westchester Putnam School Board Association meetings. It's unfortunate that they are always at the same time on Thursdays, and I am at work at that hour, so can't attend very many of them, if any of them, not since I was quarantined during COVID time. It makes it hard for everybody, but so thank you for being there and being our rep. And does anybody else have any committee reports for us? Okay, so that brings us to our audience comments section. Were there any audience comments, either public, non-agenda, or agenda items?
There were not.
There were not. Joe, not. Okay. All right, so our next segment is the board comments and new business section. Does anybody have any new business before I mention new business?
I'd love to hear if any of our plans change for graduation, since we're allowed people outside. Are we staying with the same thing, or?
Yeah, the allowance that the governor provided in the subsequent guidance, we still wouldn't qualify because we would have far more than 150. We have more than 150 students. So we're holding out hope that that number changes between now and July 19th, and if it does, and we're allowed to safely and within the confines of the guidance, I believe the goal is to have a student ceremony on our field. But we don't meet the criteria yet.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you could please address the things that were done with regard to the vote that we just happened, to keep it secure and to make sure that votes were appropriately counted.
Sure, Carmen. Do you want to walk everyone through your life for the last month?
Okay, hi everyone. So, every day since the ballots went out on May 27th, they've been rolling in ever since then. And every night they would be locked up in a secure locked cabinet every night. The process that happened today, we were building poll lists of everybody, the ballots actually were coming in. And then today, we had at the high school cafeteria, the actual tallying of the ballot votes, which was the oath envelopes. All the election officers opened the oath envelopes that qualified and began tallying the votes. And we were in the cafeteria, high school cafeteria, and we got our outcome. It was a little long process, but everything was securely done, and they are all locked away tonight. So, does that answer your question? Do you have any other questions?
I think that was it. I just wanted to have us explain to the public, how that process occurred and how we did work very hard to make sure that the votes were counted appropriately and that everything was taken care of as it should be. So thank you, Carmen.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. Can you also explain maybe a little bit of why a vote would not have qualified?
So if they did not provide their signature on the oath envelope, that's disqualification. If they sent in the return envelope, which a few did, with just the ballot and not in the oath envelope, that disqualifies you. So all the ballots had to be in the oath envelope with a signature. And then when we opened today, during the opening, if they signed or initialed the ballots, that is disqualification as well.
Okay, Carmen, thank you very much. Thanks for all the work that you did.
Thank you.
All right, so I just have one more. Oh, wait, I should ask anybody else have any other new business. All right, so I just have one more item. I'd like to thank Joe for his letter to the community that was sent out condemning racism. The board is also working on a resolution condemning racism and affirming our commitment to an inclusive school environment. The policy committee started work on this, and Corey really brought it to us as a suggestion, and I think it was an excellent suggestion. We are hoping to have a version for you at the next meeting, which will probably be next week. That may be a surprise to some of our board members, but I think we have to have a meeting next week. And we hope to have a version of this resolution for us to review and hopefully vote on at the next meeting. Corey, did you want to say anything additional?
No, just thank you for your support in doing this. And Joe, I thought there was an excellent email that you sent out to the community, and I think it really echoes a lot of the work that you've been doing around this, and that is actually going on. That it's being addressed actively. That it was really good to see. So thank you.
Okay, so that ends our new business section, which means that we can now close the public portion of the meeting. We do have to move into executive session after this to discuss some items.
So I
Can I
sent.
get a motion to close? Sorry?
I just want to remind everyone, I sent a new link for a meeting for executive session, and how long do people need before we reboot? You want to just go right into exec? Do you need a few minutes?
Can we have a 5-minute break?
Yeah, 5 minute break is fine.
Okay.
Oh, and we needed to also ask about affirming the vote. We need to get people together either tomorrow morning or Friday to do that. So we're going to need to coordinate who is available when. We need at least 4 board members to affirm the votes once they're finalized.
So as we've done in years past, we've received the election results over at Frank G shortly after 9 o'clock, and we announced them unofficially. And then the board would meet the next day to certify the vote. So that's really the only thing we need to do. It will be a one agenda item. In the past, we've met out in the foyer district office. Given our situation, we would just meet very briefly on a conference call like this, certify the vote, and move on. So will we have 4 board members that would be available at any point tomorrow or Friday that we could schedule this and notify the public?
I could be available in the morning tomorrow.
I could be available in the morning, like earlier in the morning. I could be available in the morning as well.
I could be available early in the morning.
I'm assuming that I'm not allowed to take part in it, right?
No, you can.
I can? Okay,
Yeah.
well then I can be available.
Tomorrow morning, and I'm available early.
I think so, yeah. Well, it depends on the time in the morning. But, yeah, I do have some time.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm available. I have flexibility tomorrow.
I can do it early in the morning. I can do it like around 9:30.
Sounds like tomorrow morning is the winner.
Okay, we'll prepare everything for 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'll send a link out, and we'll meet very briefly.
All right.
Okay. Great.
Okay. And then
Okay, so can I get a motion to close the public session of the meeting and move into exec?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?